Hi everybody, and welcome to Traveling with Russell, and welcome to Moscow. Welcome to a metro train video. And today I thought I'd visit a few stations in honor of the 90th anniversary of the opening of the Moscow Metro. And there's a few stations where they've got some retro or older carriages set up. So we're gonna go have a look around. To start off the video, I'm actually here at Partisanskaya metro station. And this is actually the nearest station if you ever want to go to Izmailova. And they've actually got a statue here in honor of the partisans who were involved in the Great Patriotic War. And it's a very big statue. Of course, this is an active metro station. But what's very unique about it is the fact it has 3 tracks. And it has a central track, which is actually not used for active metro trains. They actually designed this station because of a nearby stadium that essentially never really got built or was ever used. And they over-designed it for the sheer amount of people that would come on and off the trains to come and visit the stadium. So there is quite a lot of people coming and going on the metro at the same time. And then on this middle track, you can perhaps see the crowds. Once I get a bit closer, you'll definitely see them. And then they've got some different metro cars here. And quite interesting as well because they're very old. However, they're able to be brought to different stations. Most of the time they're kept in museums or in storage. But in honor of the 90th anniversary of the Moscow Metro, they brought some out to look around. So actually on either side of this middle track is the actual Blue Line Metro. And one of the trains is just about to leave. Let's see if we can catch it. Now actually, metros are going to come and go about every 90 seconds to about 2 minutes. So you're going to actually get a lot of background noise from these. There's another statue here. It really is a very big station if you compare it to a lot of others. Obviously with that middle track, it makes it a little bit more unique that they can actually use it to alleviate the traffic coming on and off the trains. And it's really interesting to use it in this way as essentially a mobile museum. So lots of people have come out to this. This actually has been on display only yesterday and today. I wasn't able to make it here yesterday. I went to another event, but here I am coming to check it out. And lots of train and metro enthusiasts are here. What's really nice is they've got these little plaques set up so you can actually read about the particular carriages. Every time I go to look at them, 12 people crowd around. But we'll soldier on and try to get a little bit closer. Now there is actually 2 carriages here of the same type. But one is actually a passenger carriage and one is what would be the actual head car. So let's go and walk inside. The kids and adults that are here both are opening the doors and closing the doors themselves. It's completely free to walk in and walk around and get as close as you like. And I think a lot of people are reminiscing, especially the older crowd that are here, because they want to actually remember the time that they caught some of these metros. Now this is I believe the E carriage. I did read about all of these things, and then as soon as I get here, I magically forget. There we go. I stand corrected. It's actually the D train or the D model. and I've read up a little bit more about it since then. And I think we can go inside. We'll follow everybody else. Now, there's a couple of interesting things that I want to point out, and maybe people will or won't notice it in this carriage. So the first thing is these much comfier chairs, and everybody taking photos. So you've got these nice spongy soft chairs, and then actually have a look on the panels here. There's a wallpaper. Now, after a few years they removed it, and then they're using more of a veneer or vinyl paneling. But you can see this finish on the walls. And then also the actual window frames are wood finish, not some plastic or metal. So the wood finish. And then let me see if I can open one of the windows. Okay, not this one. When I want to film it, it's not going to open, but the actual windows can slide up or down. Let me see a little bit further along. There is lots of people wanting to get up close. I think over here. Okay, let's try. Oh, this one is actually open. So you can see the actual windows are slide down glass frames. And then you can actually open and close them with really not that much force. So of course, they do have a climate control system in them, but people would open the windows and you'd get that really Moscow metro smell when you were riding them. The kids are opening and closing the doors, and you can just see inside here. Now this is, or would be, the head car when it's running, but they've removed a lot of the workings, so you can actually see the wheel there. Check that out. And then the speed control here as well. Then I would imagine some kind of gauges for pressure. And then check out that view going up the middle track as well. So pretty interesting, I think. Have a look at the lamps on the ceiling. I think there's really a sense of nostalgia for particularly older people who are coming to see these. Or I hope there is. You know, you could spend your Sunday doing something completely different today, but we've all decided to come and see trains, and of course we're gonna have to ride one to get out of here, but it's pretty cool to be able to be inside. I wonder at some point if they had a different floor in place, because they've got like a vinyl on top now. And I think perhaps it was maybe some sort of a wood or metal flooring, but it's since been covered over. I really hope the volume is okay and the sound, because of the fact that there is metro trains coming every 90 seconds, it becomes very loud and it's drowned out a little. If you have perhaps ridden any of these metro trains, let me know in the comments, because I haven't lived that long in Russia to have been able to ride this train at the time that it was in operation. Okay, so as I'm walking through the different metro cars, people are correcting me, and these aren't climate controlled because they didn't actually install them at that time. So there's actually vents right here, and of course as the trains are going at speed, the actual air ducts inside the actual carriage. Now this is actually the passenger car that doesn't have the cab for the driver, and you can actually get an even better idea of the paneling on the side of these in this particular one. And also just that color and feel at the same time. This like yellow lighting. Most of the modern trains now, they've got the LEDs and the different lights inside. And how cool is it to be able to come inside this? And it's really amazing that we obviously have to take a metro to come here, but then we want to come and see and get up close with the trains at the station. So the air actually just ducts through to the vents on the ceiling here. This also has something a little bit different and a little bit more modern. And the one thing I want to point out here is this split window. So can you see how there's actually two panels and then there's a frame in the middle? So on a lot of the newer models, it was a single window that opened, and this has actually got two pieces of glass. Now if you're watching and you're not a train fan, perhaps you're learning something. Or if you're watching, oh, have a look. Even the seats.
Once upon a time there was a story when the people without family lives here.
No.
And just it was very warm here, and that's why he went to sleep.
To hide inside.
Yes, hide inside.
What?
Because it's warm. It was winter time, and then the train goes to the depot, and next morning,
wow,
it comes on the train, and after that, it start to knock.
Come on.
To way out.
So interesting. Thanks. So that was really interesting. The gentleman there, I just stopped to chat to him for a little while, and what he was talking about was there was people that would lift up the benches and sleep there and would actually ride the metro underneath the chairs. Now that's just incredible to think that people would have done that. And because he said it was heated and warm, which is very true for the Moscow metro generally, in wintertime people would come to the metro because it's warm than it is outside. And the one thing also that he just mentioned, and I probably just didn't notice it as much just wandering through here, is they didn't have any advertising in the trains, and it was just clean and beautiful. And the emphasis on the paneling on the walls, and no company names stuck anywhere. All they had at some point was just the very basic map or some of the technical information, and that was it. They have two more trains at the platform here, and both of these are technical trains, and this particular one was used to measure the tracks and to make sure that there wasn't movement of the tracks or the lines. And actually the interior is now stripped out, but they were different offices that they had, or different compartments. Also here where some of the machinery was installed. And then let's see if we can get a peek in the other windows. This one you can't go inside. And they actually had different rooms for different people that did work while the train actually rode the Moscow metro. And then I think from this view we can actually see against the window here the actual schematics. So there was actually the needles there to read the accuracy of the tracks. I'm not too sure if I'm explaining it correctly, and I understand what it does, but now it's all computerized and modernized, and you can see some of the workings on the back wall there, the old phone, and then this wooden desk that's sitting there. And it's just interesting to be able to see these technical cars. And then this next one here is a shunting car. Basically, it's the metro car that can pull other metro cars. And we will be able to go inside this. I'll go from the other door. And this is basically a locomotive or an electric locomotive. Please let me know if I'm getting it wrong, and you can correct the words that I'm using. You can actually see here some of the workings inside. And this one does actually work and move. And it actually brought the other carriages to this display right here. We got both metros coming at the same time. So the noise ramps up just a little bit. And we can actually see here the actual battery system or the electric motors. I'm not sure if I'm explaining it right, but check this out. These very big banks on either side, and this is all it had inside. Nowhere to sit. I'd imagine that the only employees sat actually in the driver's booth at the front. Very interesting to see. According to one of the people that I've been chatting to here, they said that this red and yellow carriage and then the red one both were not shown before, and they were just kept in storage, and then they've been brought out specially for the 90th anniversary of the Moscow Metro. So it's really, really cool to see things that just were not on display to the public. I think if that's the right word to say. And you can see just from me walking around the amount of people that have made the pilgrimage to this station. Now I live probably close to 2 hours away, depending on which way I was to come here. But it's well worth it, I think. One more thing before I head off and leave this particular station. So the reason there's a lot more people looking through these blue cars is these were in operation on this line until quite a few years ago, of course, but a lot of people that live on this line or within a few stations of this location, this was the train that they caught, and it was actively on this blue line. So a lot of people know this train very well and caught this train for a lot of years. So I just find it really neat to see people's faces and to see, I guess, the joy and excitement that it brings, and how people are just fascinated by the older trains. And then on the opposite side, the slightly more modern trains. This one's actually ending its route right here and going to the depot. So everybody getting out. The next station I want to bring you to is Trouba metro station. Now, they don't have any carriages or trains on display here, but they kind of do if you look up in the ceiling. Now, this station is very well known for doing a lot of decorations at different times of the year, and in honor of the 90th birthday or anniversary of the Moscow Metro, they've put some balloons and they put some scale model metro cars up there. Check that out. Now you can come here at different times in the year, and they've got different decorations for the holidays or Easter, and it's really very neat. Now the trains again are going to come here. They're a little bit louder at this station, I always think, but they've got some of the original metro cars and then the most modern one there as well. But how neat is this station? I know a lot of people come here just to take photos of the station. Also going back to Chinese New Year, they decorated it as well. And I think it's just really cool. And I thought it was a good addition to this video and to make the trip here to see the metro cars as two trains come and go. Wow. And you can see the different models of the cars. Let's catch this one leaving, and let's get that sound one more time. There we go. And for a few seconds, it becomes quiet in here again when there isn't a metro on either side of the tracks. But really very interesting. Actually, I think the cars they've got hung on this next section actually have lights in them. Also, there's some really nice mosaics at this station as well. And it's really super interesting to see each different station as another train comes. It's very difficult to film because you've got to quickly catch that gap in between the 90-second break. We can't see them as well now because of the lighting. But somebody's done an amazing job of putting these up here and displaying them for everybody. Welcome to Partisanskaya metro station, and this is one of the other stations where they've got a middle track. Now this one they actually actively use the middle track, and then the far right hand side as one of the more modern, newer trains turns up. And actually a lot of people are coming and going here, and of course they don't close the metro to do a display. But what they do have here is they've got some of the technical trains that they use on the Moscow metro, and these are different diagnostic trains that are used to check the actual stations or check the lines, and also things like checking the air quality and the amount of gases that are in the stations. So actually it will bring this to even new modern stations that aren't open and use it for diagnostic checking. Again, lots of people here, and also trains coming and going at the same time. Probably won't be quite as loud because they're a slightly more modern train, but still, it's pretty neat. And have a look, the kids are reading the signs to learn about the trains. We can almost see inside. And then actually there's chairs and desks with monitors where the actual engineers would sit. It's really cool. I think it is, and I hope people watching think it is. There is one of the crane cars, which I would imagine they use for laying track, or also they can use it for carrying things on and off the platform when they're building the train lines as well. Can't quite see inside. You can just see the seat. Everywhere I'm walking, of course, lots of people want to take photos and get as close as possible. And there's a lot of very smart, intelligent train fanatics here who can tell you every piece of information about the trains. This looks very new. This might be one of the newest ones. It's got the little crane arm at the front, as opposed to the big boom arm on the other one over there. And these are things that you really don't see in any daytime operation of the metro. These are operating only in the nighttime or at stations that aren't open. And it's just so cool to get up close with them and try to understand what they do or see what's happening in the construction of the metro. Everybody wants to get the photos in the cab. This has to be a new model, just looking at it and how clean and shiny it is. But how interesting it is that they brought these for the 90th anniversary of the metro. This is an ideal place to put them for display as well, because they've got the third spare track where there is nobody getting on and off the trains. Very neat. So you can actually read the signs that they've got on display. It just gives you the basic information about it. So have a look inside. We've got the Russian train and then a Suzuki battery sitting inside. Very interesting. The next one they've got parked up here is a tanker train. So there is obviously a lot of carryover from traditional suburban trains or normal trains that would run on regular tracks, not in the metro system. And they can, of course, use them here on the metro because of the actual gauge of the train lines. But this one is it says on the description, it's a sump unit. And it's able to actually pump water out from the actual lines and also clear sump tanks. And also it could be used as a way of bringing water to the station and use it for cleaning and spraying of the actual platforms as well. So they've actually got the bigger pipe there that they can use as a pumping tank, and there's also a smaller pipe there where they can use it like a traditional hose pipe, if that makes sense. I think just looking at everybody as I walk around, everybody hasn't seen these before, and they're not possibly able to be seen. So to bring them out for everybody, it's very nice. Now this one I have seen many times. This is another Diagnostic train, and the only awkward thing with it is it's all blacked out, and this is actually one that's in service, and you'll actually quite often see this running through the stations in between the active metro trains. So there'll generally be a larger gap, like 3 or 4 minutes between a train rather than 1 minute, and this train will actually come through the station and do diagnostic checks of the electrics and all of the technical things that need to be understood. So there is actually one of the middle carriages with seating, so this is where they can actually bring the workers to the actual platform. So I have actually seen this quite a few times. It's really strange when it pulls up to actually a station, because naturally everything's blacked out and it's like some kind of a secret train that's coming through the line. Again, lots of people stopping for photos and want to get as close as possible to these trains. I wonder if so the doors are definitely blacked out, and then you can just see some of the computer racking inside. Oh, they've got one of the doors open. Well, this is cool. Ha! Check this out. Actually, they put one of the TVs here for showing a bit of a video. And then you can just see on the right the desks and the computers and network rack right there. Actually, they've got a video of them sitting inside the actual train. That's really cool. You can just see this one, they've got the computer monitors. Looks just like an office, but it's on a train. And the last carriage, can we see inside? I think not. So they've got paneling on this side, so probably the desks are on the opposite side. As both trains clear the platform at the same time. You don't see too many of these 3-track stations. I'm not sure if these are the only 2 on the entire Moscow Metro. So if anybody knows, let me know in the comments. I know there is quite a lot of subscribers of the channel who are very knowledgeable about trains. Everybody, just like me, wants to get as close as possible, almost wants to touch the side of the train. That's pretty neat that they've opened one of the doors. Everybody can get a look inside and try to understand what this thing does, because we all see this on the lines on the Moscow Metro, but we really don't know what it does in a roundabout way. So you can watch a looping video. So really very interesting. So it turns out this particular train is one of the shunting trains, and of course if you understand train talk, it would be used to pull and push other technical trains along the metro, and particularly carriages where there is no locomotive or no engine, and it can also bring the train carriages that would bring new tracks or anything that they need for the construction of the new metro. So it's able to actually bring things alongside the actual platform and then crane them onto the actual walkway right here. It's really very interesting because the front of it is looking exactly like the current modern passenger trains. Have a look at how many people. This is going on yesterday and today. So naturally, some people are just passing through the station and see this, and then I think everybody else, about 99% of people, are coming here especially to get up close and personal with these technical cars. As I finally make my way out of the metro, all it's cost me is one ticket to ride from my home station. I got the train into Moscow. We went to 3 different stations, and now I'm here at my final destination to go about my day. And I wonder if I spin around, if you might recognize where I am. Let's see if anybody knows what the building behind me is. And I'm going to head on in here in a few minutes. Need to get a drink and a sandwich though first. So I hope you've enjoyed the video and it was interesting. I did meet a lot of subscribers today. I think more than 20 subscribers to the channel and lots of selfies. And it was really cool to actually chat to a few of you and actually talk about trains, believe it or not. You know, it's a shared interest. I'm becoming a train guru. I'm not too sure. Now, if you make it to the end of the video and you make it to this part, I want you to put a word that references what that building is behind me. And if you did, I know you've watched to the end of the video and you know what that building is. If you might have seen it on another video, it'll give it away a little. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Post a comment, let me know what you think of my day today in Moscow. It's actually starting to rain now. That's the good thing about the metro. You can go the whole video underground, have no idea what the weather's like, and then here you are. All right, let's do take 2. I really have to stop and start again, but it is what it is. So yeah, thumbs up, post a comment, put a word that references where I am, if you recognize the place, and I'll know you know, and I know that you know. Okay, everybody. If you want to follow me on Telegram, there's a link right here. Then if you want to watch another video on the channel, let me see if I can find some train content so you can keep traveling with Russell. Okay, everybody, I'm off on another adventure. Bye.